So list is also a type of data type and it is an ordered sequence. Once the values has been declared or the list has been declared, their elements or values can be changed. Accessing or visiting all the elements of a list is nothing but traversing. The list appears as element of another list, means a list inside another list is termed as nested list. Dear students, welcome to Computer Science classes. I am Ravi Kumar KR, lecturer in Computer Science, Vidhyaashram PU College, Temple of Excellence, Mysore. Students, let us start our discussion with the chapter, that is chapter 9, that is list. Now, the weightage of the chapter is 8 marks. Here that is MCQ, it is 3 marks, 3 MCQ and 1 5 marks question. Total weightage is 8 marks. Now, in this session, we are going to talk about a list and list operations and built-in function with respect to list. See, these are the topics to be discussed in this session. Now, let us start with the definition of list. See, what is a list with respect to in Python programming? So, here a data type list. So, list is also a type of data type and it is an ordered sequence which is mutable and made up of one or more elements. So, here list is nothing but is a data type. It is an ordered sequence which is mutable and made up of one or more elements. So, inside the list we have elements of a list. And it is very useful to group together elements of mixed data type. So, you know what are different data types? We will talk about integer, float and so on. So, it is a group of elements of mixed data type, or you can have more than one data type as an element of a list. And here elements of a list are enclosed in square brackets and are separated by comma. So, this is the definition of list. It is a group of elements of different data types and are enclosed between a pair of square brackets. And here, just like string indices, list indices also start from 0. So, we know we have learned about strings in the previous session. So, in the string, we start with the index 0. Similarly, even with respect to list, we are accessing the elements through their index or indices, and index of the list start from 0. So, this is the basic definition of a list. So, what are lists in Python programming? It is a group of elements of different data types and enclosed between a pair of square brackets. So, this is a list. Now, let us see some example here. Now, here list 1 equals square bracket, we are closing here. Here inside we have 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 12. So, here these are called elements of a list and comma is the delimiter, means the elements of a list are separated by a comma. Now, if I say print list, you know what is a print statement? It is a print function. It displays the list elements. And another example, list 2 equals A, E, I, O, U. It is a character data types, or the elements are in the form of characters. So, here print list 2 is going to print like this. So, again you observe this, it is called the elements are enclosed between a pair of square brackets and each element is separated by comma. So, these are example for list. Now, let us see next concept types. How do we access the element of a list? Now, we know in the previous session we have discussed about string and how do we access the string function or the elements of a string. Similarly, now how do we access the elements of a list? So, here the elements of a list are accessed in the same way as the characters are accessed in the string. Mean how the characters are accessed in a string. Similarly, in the same way, we are accessing the elements of a list through their indices or through their index. So, here example, this is a list and here say print list 1 is name of a list and here say 2. So here, as we have seen in the first slide, the index of list start with index 0. So 0, 1, 2, it goes 3, 4, 5. So these are the index of the list elements. So here if I say list 2 means 0, 1, 2. Index 2, it contains element 6. The output would be 6. See, this is how we access the elements of a list through their index. And again, if I say print list of 5, so here 12 is at the position of index 5. You say print 5 means at index 5, element is 12. So output would be 12. So this is how we access the elements of a list. Next is list are mutable. So list are mutable. What is the meaning of the mutable? Here, list are mutable. It means that the contents of the list can be changed after it has been created. See, that is the definition of mutable. List or mutable means the content of the list or elements of a list can be changed even after it has been declared. So, for example, list 1 equals, say, red, green, blue, orange. These are the elements of a list separated by comma and enclosed between a pair of square brackets. Now, if I say list 1 of 3 equals black. Now here index 0, 1, 2, 3. If I say 3 here, 3 equal to block. So if you print the statement, say print list 1 means it's going to print red, green, blue and block, and it was orange here. So this orange has been changed to black with the help of this statement. So this is the concept of mutable. Means once the values has been declared or the list has been declared, their elements or values can be changed. That is the definition of the word mutable. So list are mutable. Next concept is list operations. Now, as we have seen in the previous session about string operations. So similarly, it is also possible to work with a list with the different types of operations. So first one is concatenation. So what is concatenation? Here it allows to join two or more lists using concatenation operator, that is plus. So that is plus. So what is concatenation? The definition is going to join or is going to combine two lists together with the help of an operator, that is plus. Look at the example now. So list 1 is 1, 3, 5, 7, 9 and list 2 is 2, 4, 6, 8, 10. So if I say list 1 plus list 2 here, plus is the concatenation operator. So here is going to print 1, 3, 5, 7, 9. This is the elements of first list, and at the end of this is going to add the elements of the second list, that is 2, 4, 6, 8 and 10. This is concatenation operation in list. Next operation is repetition. So what is repetition? The definition is it is used to replicate a list using repetition operator, that is star or asterisk. So what is the meaning of repetition? It's going to replicate or duplicate the elements of the list. So here the operator is asterisk or star. Now look at the example. For example, list 1 equals to hello. So this is the list, and if we say list 1 star, here this star is the repetition operator, that is repetition operation. So into 4, if I say 4, so the list element, this is going to replicate or is going to print 4 times the same element. Look at the example here. Hello, this is one element, second, third, 4. Because here star into 4 or star 4, it means it replicates this value 4 times. So this is repetition operation. In the next slide, membership. So here membership operations, and as we have seen with respect to string, there are two membership operators. They are in and not in. Same thing is going to apply even with respect to list. Now let us see the definition of this. Like strings, the membership operator in. It checks if the element is present in the list and returns true, else returns false. So here, if the element is present in the list, it returns true, that is in operator, and if element is not present, it outputs the result as false. So this is a function of in operator, one of the membership operator or operation. Look at the example. List 1 equals to red, green, blue. These are the elements of a list. And here, green in list 1. So, in is your membership operator. In list 1, so green is present in the list. So, it says answer would be true. And suppose cyan in list 1. So, here there is no element like cyan here. So, it's going to return false. This is the function of in membership operator. Next, another operator is not in. This is membership operator. Again, it returns true if the element is not present in the list, else return false. So, it is quite opposite of in operator. So, here not in function, it returns true if element is not in the list, and if returns true if element is present in the list. Look at the example. List 1 equals to red, green, blue, and cyan not in list. Here not in is an operator, not in list 1. So here not there. So answer is true. Suppose if you write green not in list 1, means because green already is present in the list as a list element, so the result is false. So this is not in membership operator. In the next slide, we will see traversing a list. So another operation is called traversing a list. So what is the meaning of this? The meaning of the word traversing is we can access each element of the list. The traversing is nothing but accessing or visiting all the elements of a list is nothing but traversing. And it can be done by using for loop or a while loop. It is possible to traversing a list with the help of for loop or a while loop. Let us see the example of traversing with for loop. For example, the list 1, these are the list elements. Now we are using for loop. For item in list 1. In is membership operator. You say print item. You say print item. So here we are using a for loop is going to print all the elements of a list. Here accordingly is going to print red, green, blue, yellow, block. So here it is accessing all the elements of a list. So it is traversing operation. In the next slide, we will see traversing operation using while loop. So while loop, let us take the same example. List 1 equals, these are the elements of a list. You know what is while loop? Means it is going to repeat certain set of statements until the condition is true. So that is while loop. So accordingly, while I is the 0 less than length of a list. So it's going to continue till the end of a list and print list of I. Here as we know that I equal to 0. So length of list 1 of I means 0. So it's going to access the first element. Again I equals to I plus 1. So accordingly is going to access all the elements. First time it is 1, 0, next 1, 2, 3, 4 till the end of the list or till it reaches the length of the list 1. So the output would be red, green, blue, yellow, black. These are the elements of the given list. So this is traversing operation using while loop. In the next slide, we will see the list, some of the list methods and built-in functions. So first one is length, len, it stands for length function. So it's going to return length of the list passed as an argument. So here it returns the length of the list. Now look at for example here, list 1 is this the elements and here length of list 1. So here how many elements are here? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. There are 5 elements. So it returns 5 as the answer or length of the given list. That is length function. Next, append function. So what is append function? append function is a single element passed as an argument at the end of the list. So append is an operation or is a built-in function is going to add a new element at the end of the list. For example, this is the list element. Now you say list1 dot append is the function 50. So this is an argument here. So 50 is going to add at the end of the list. So 40 is the last element of the list, is going to add 50 after the element 40. So this is append function. Next one is insert function. It is insert an element at the particular index in the list. So if you look at the append function, it's going to add the new element at the end of the list, but insert function is going to insert, or it is possible to insert element at the any given position. For example, list1 dot insert is an operation 2, 25. Here, this is the index 2 and this is the value. So this is the element and this here, this is the index. So means we are going to insert element 25 at the index 2. So as you know that index starts with 0, 0, 1, 2. At the place of 30, we are going to insert new element. So accordingly, if you print that, it's going to print 10, 20, 25. So 25 is inserted at the position or the index 2. This is insert function. Next one is count function. It returns number of times a given element appears in the list. So it is going to display number of times a particular element is present in the list. For example, this is an example of the list 1 and here 10 is repeated thrice. There are 3 times that 10 is present in the list. If we say list1 dot count of 10, so this is the argument here 10. So output would be 3, means that this 10 appears 3 times in the given list. These are the built-in functions. In the next slide, we will see other 2 functions. One is remove function. What is remove function? It removes the given element from the list, means going to delete the element or remove the element from the list. For example, this is the list and it's a list 1 remove 30. So remove 30. So it's going to remove 30 is the first appearance of 30 in the list and 30, so 40, 50 and 30. So it's going to remove or eliminate 30 which appears first in the list. Now next function is sort function. What is sort function? It sorts the elements of the given list in place. Nothing but it is possible to, or the sort function arrange the elements in either in definite order, either ascending or descending order. For example, this is the list here, the list here, and you say list1 dot sort is going to arrange with in alphabetical order. See C, D, E, then L, T, Z. Look at the list here. First one is tiger, but here tiger appears at this position in the list. So sort function is going to arrange the elements of a list in a definite order. In the next slide, one is minimum function. It returns minimum or smallest element of a list. Maximum as well as sum. It returns sum of the elements of the list. Now let us see the example here. List 1 equals list is a minimum of list. So here the smallest element is 12. It results in 12. And maximum of list, if I say maximum of list 1, the largest element is 92. It prints 92. And sum of list 1 is a function, is going to sum up all the elements of the given list. So output would be 284. These are all few built-in functions of list. Next, we move on to next concept, that is nested list. So what is the concept of nested list? Here, when a list appears as an element of another list, it is called as a nested list. See what is nested list? The list appears as element of another list, means a list inside another list is termed as nested list. For example, list 1 equals 1, 2, A, 3, and observe this. This is 6, 7, 8, comma 4, comma 9. If you observe this, see, from this is the list. Inside this, we have one more list. This is another list. It is called nested list. And here it appears as one of the elements of a list. If you observe this, and as you know, the index always starts with 0. So this index is 0, 1, 2, 3, and index is 4, 5, 6. So if you say list 1 of 4 means is going to print the inside this list is 6, 7, 8. Is going to print 6, 7, 8 as the result. So inside the list we have list as one of the element in the main list. This is called nested list. Next one is copying a list. So here, given a list, the simplest way to make a copy of the list is to assign it to another list. So how do we copy it? By assigning the list to another list. For example, list 1 equals 1, 2, 3, this is the list, and you say list 2 equals list 1. So this is called assignment operator, assigning the list to one more list. So if I say list 1 is going to print 1, 2, 3. And if I say list 2, again 1, 2, 3. If you observe this, list 1 is 1, 2, 3. We have copied list 1 to list 2 in this statement. So if I say list 2 is going to print 1, 2, 3. Here, list 1 is copied to list 2. This is copying a list. We move on to the next concept, that is list as argument to a function. Now we know what are functions. We have learned in the previous concept. So there are two methods to work with the function. So whenever a list is passed as an argument to a function, we have to consider two scenarios. When you pass a list as an argument, there are two methods or there are two scenarios. What is that? First one is elements of the original list may be changed, and changes made to the list in the function are reflected back in the calling function. So here the one of the method is we call it as the elements once we change inside the function, it will be reflected in the original value. So it is called, you can say it is a permanent change. Means once the list is passed as argument to a function, once the values has been changed inside the function, same thing will be reflected in the main function or in the main value of the variable or a list. Second scenario is when a list is assigned a new value inside the function, the new list object is created and becomes the local copy of the function. Any changes made inside the copy of the function are not reflected back to the calling function. So this is another scenario. When the list is passed as an argument, in this example, the any changes means the argument is going to create one of the copy of the original list, and it works with the copy of the value, a copy of the given list. So in that case, any changes made to the list is going to affect only inside the functions, and so once you come out of the function or outside the function, it doesn't have any effect to the original list or original value. So in this scenario, only changes takes place inside the function and it doesn't have any effect or impact on the original function or original values of the list. These are the two scenarios to work with the function, and the two list as an argument to a function. In the next slide, we will see a small program to show the working of function or a list as an argument to a function. Now you observe this. This is a user-defined function. Define def increment list 2. We are passing list as an argument, and inside the function for I in range 0 to element length of a list 2, list 2 of I equals to plus 5. Means here we are incrementing the elements of the list by 5 here. So accordingly, now this is the function. So this is user defined function. Now, once you come out of the function, these are the elements of a given list. Now, we are calling the function here increment list 1. So, here this is the list 1, say the list 2, and this is list 1. So, you say print list 1. It's going to print 15, 25, 35, 45, 55. If you observe this here, the elements are 10, 20, 30, 40, 50. So inside the function is going to add element 5, or each element are incremented by plus 5. So 10 plus 5 is 15, 20 plus 5 is 25, and 30 plus 5 35, 45, and as well as 55. See, this is the result of the program. Now look at another example here. Program to increment the elements of the list passed as parameter. Now look at this example now. In this example, same statements are same here. List 2 is this, and in the previous example, we are accessing list 1 here. Okay, but we are passing list 2 as argument. Now in the next example, list 1 is here list 2. Inside this, list 2 is, these are the elements, print list 2. Print list 2. Now as usual, list 1, print list 1, increment list 1. We are passing, we are calling the function here, and while calling, we are passing this list as an argument or a parameter. So then print list. So here we can see there are two print statements. Observe this, print list 1, then print list 1. Now look at the output of this. The list inside the function after assignment is this. This is the list. 15, 25, 35, 45, 55, and inside this we have print command or a print statement is going to print this list. That is the list in the inside the function. Now when you come out of this, here, see the list after the function call, say print list 1. See what is list 1 here? List 1 is 10, 20, 30, 40, 50. So here output is 10, 20, 30, 40, 50. Now we have to observe this. There are two scenarios as we have seen in the previous slide. One is the function, the changes takes place inside the function only, and when you come out of this, there is no change in the original value. This is the second scenario, what you have seen in the previous slide. And if you look at this example here, in this one, any changes made to this list will be affected to the final result here. So these are the two scenarios when we pass a list as an argument to a function. Next, let us move on to, in the next slide, a program to calculate average marks of a student using a function where n is entered by the user. So this we have to input the value for n. We have to find the average of the marks of n students. Look at the program now. This is user defined function def compute average list 1 comma n. Here we are passing the arguments here. List 1 is a list 1 and comma n. It indicates number of students. So inside the function, the statement is total equals to 0, and for marks in list 1, we are in a for loop. Total equals total plus marks. So this is the variable here, marks and marks. And average is total divided by n. N is nothing but the number of students we are passing as an argument here. So return average. So this is the function to calculate the average marks of a student of n students. Here we are passing list as well as number of students. In the next slide, the code continues. List equal to this, the blank list. We are creating an empty list. So print how many student marks you want to enter. So this is n. N equals int input. So this is what the value we are passing here, n, number of students. So here n for I in range 0 to n for number of students. Enter the marks of student, and here marks equals input. So we are accepting the marks of one student. Next one is list 1 dot append marks. So the append function, what you have seen in the previous slides about built-in functions. So append is going to add the marks at the end of the list. So it's going to add this. Then average equals compute average of list 1 comma n. Here we are calling the function here. In the previous slide, we have written the function computer average, and we are calling the function here. We are passing list 1 comma n as a parameter. So here, then after this, print average marks of student is average. So here at the end of this function, inside the function, it returns the average marks of a student. So this is the program to find the average marks of students. Now let us see the output for the program. So it's going to ask number of students. If you say enter 5, means it's going to accept 5 students marks. So enter marks of student 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So we supposed to enter marks of 5 students here. Then inside, because of the inside the function, here we have done the statement here to sum up all the marks and to find the average. Accordingly, is going to calculate the sum and average and returns average as the result. So this is the output of the example of the program. So students, so far we have discussed about the list definitions and operations on list and built-in functions and list as an argument to a function. So let us continue our discussion in my next session. Thank you so much.